As a veteran of America, how do you feel now that you've seen these messages in the group chat, and how do you feel about the administration's explanation of it today?
Outraged, disgusted, concerned, and I think that's the response from just about anyone who's served in the military from any political background, except for maybe some people.
Okay, so if you guys don't know who this is Shermichael Singleton. He is a Republican. Of course, he's a black Republican, because we have to always say black Republican, because if we don't say black Republican, like, it's just still like answering to identity politics to me. That's why I didn't really, I never really said like, I'm a black conservative. I just say conservative, but whatever, it works. The marketing is good. I know the world I live in. So shout out to him. Shout out to him. He's on CNN. Now, this is going to be nummy, because I personally cannot stand the ladies of The View, because they're always talking too much. And that Ana Navarro, she's always got a lot to say. You don't know what's happening, and you don't know, and you don't. And it's just like, girl, stop. Okay, so black conservative is going to demolish and destroy The View co-host Ana Navarro. The View co-host Ana Navarro is not ready. The View co-host is just going to have to take it, because Ana Navarro is going to get destroyed by Shermichael Singleton.
In the administration. Generations of Americans who've served in the military know loose lips sink ships. We're taught it in basic training. Everyone understands you have an obligation to ensure you don't disclose anything that could harm your fellow troops. And that's the most important part here. Whether it's an attack plan or a war plan, we're all taught not to divulge anything that could violate operational security. So the question is, did you violate operational security? Did you release anything that could potentially hurt someone who's in operations right now? And the answer is yes. That's obvious. Everyone can see it. And the harder they spin, the worse it is. And you can see that. That's why they're spinning so hard. This is damning. I think Hegseth has to step down or be fired, because he can't command the respect of the people he leads if he holds himself to a different standard. And maybe
we're not even going to be talking about this next week. That's why it's pointless to say that he should be fired. He should be fired or step down. We know it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And for what? Somebody else to come in that's just another stooge? I'm sorry. I'm not. You guys know on this channel, like, look, I'm kind of moving around in the algorithm and getting to know new people. It's fine. I am not a Pete Hegseth fan because I'm a Christian. I'm not a Christian Zionist. So that kind of, his kind of thinking is very extreme with, we need to do whatever it takes for Israel. So therefore, there's that, right? We'll leave it there, because I swear I'm like hitting talking points, and I know that they reconfigure these apps, whatever. But fire Pete Hegseth for what? Like, why? I just don't. I don't know. Like, for me, it's like, why? It's just, let's do thing.
Most of all, our enemies are celebrating. Chaos, mayhem, dysfunction. This has become normal around the Pentagon, and that is very dangerous for our national security.
Look, the administration all but baited Goldberg to release these today. Did they get what they wanted out of this?
Well, I think it's because these kinds of spins for MAGA have worked in the past, and for Donald Trump, for that matter. There have been no repercussions when you actually see something said on videotape and they say it's not true, and nothing happens to them. And so
that's not true. Are you kidding me? There's a whole J6. Get out of here. You see why it's not serious? None of it is serious. It's a big show.
So I will say, from a PR point of view, not from a veteran point of view, they should have nipped this in the bud. I mean, this could have been a done story by yesterday had they just fessed up, been adults about it, said we made a mistake, it's not going to happen again, end of story. Instead, this deny, deflect, defame other people. That is not working, and this is going to be a story again for a third day tomorrow.
I'm going to tell you, obviously, these people do not watch Real Housewives, because you don't go to the Real Housewives reunion and go to the other housewife when that person has receipts in writing, on text, which is what Jeffrey Goldberg had. I was hearing last night when...
she thought she was killing it with that metaphor. Like, you see why I don't like her? Because, sorry, like... we can have a serious conversation about this, guys. Like, this is what we're doing here on the channel. By the way, please don't forget to like and subscribe button and the notification bell. But she's dead serious, like, they don't watch Real Housewives because Real Housewives this. We go, girl, what are you saying? It didn't. It's not giving. It's not giving.
Walls was calling him a loser and scum, and they have been calling him every name in the book. How do you do that with somebody who's got receipts in writing that he can then divulge and share with the rest of America. Just from a psychological aspect, it seems stupid. And I was thinking today, Tim, about our friend John McCain. You and I supported John McCain when he was running, and I remember him grilling Rumsfeld pretty hard on issues like that, because it used to be that for Republicans, when it came to veterans, when it came to national security, when it came to soldiers, it was above partisanship. Mm-hmm. John McCain, chair of the Armed Services Committee, didn't care whether it was George W. Bush or whether it was Bill Clinton. He was going to question them exactly the same. And talking about questioning exactly the same, I'm so damn old. I remember when about a year ago, right now, Lloyd Austin had to testify in front of a congressional committee because he did not divulge that he was having prostate surgery and would be in the hospital. And he got reamed pretty hard by that congressional committee. He admitted that he had not handled it correctly. And I think Pete Hegseth, at the very least, needs to have the cojones to show up in front of a congressional committee, and there needs to be a full investigation, like there was about Lloyd Austin's prostate.
Before somebody answers, sorry guys, I'm trying not to, I'm trying to let her talk. I see some of the comments and it's like, oh, you're not making sense in anything you're saying or whatever. And I need to stop because it's like, I do have a point. But I hope you know that everything she said was just a bunch of garbage, right? Like, this is what I mean, why it's a big show. Oh, let's bring them in front of a congressional hearing to ask them questions and ream them out. But she supported John McCain, who was all about, don't think, by the way, that the Ukraine war was just for Democrats. No, it's a neocon war. John McCain was standing right next to Lindsey Graham when he said to the last Ukrainian, there's not a war that John McCain wasn't for, okay? Well, we care about our troops. Yeah, well, why are our troops dying for other people? Why do we have troops in Lithuania claiming to be killed in training exercises? I don't know if it was training exercise. Why are Americans scattered about the world, right, for other countries, right? Do you really care? Like, they miss me with this, man. When you guys start doing this, oh, we need to care about the troops. I don't care about the veterans, man. Because if you cared about the veterans, I'm not going to say, oh, because I care about the veterans, I do this and I do. It's not that. It's just there's an anger in your heart. I am not a veteran. I didn't have that kind of courage to go and enlist. But to the brothers and sisters at any time, in any lifetime, by the way, who put their name on that list, man, thank you for your service. And I don't like that they use this word of defending our troops in vain like this, when we lie so much to the American people and get them into wars that they have no business being a part of. We're doing it right now, and nobody's doing anything about it.
John, I think there's one other important point here. We should stop and step back 1 second and applaud the men and women in the United States military who received these orders and executed this mission brilliantly and executed it to perfection. And so, again, kudos to the men and women in the military, and particularly those on this mission. We really owe them our respect. Beyond that, this is really simple. It's hard to deflect the obvious. And the obvious is they screwed up. And so just say it. Just say it. And to everybody's point, I think we all agree, when you make a mistake, own up to it. When it's this obvious, you can't deny, deflect, obfuscate. That doesn't work in this case.
He's right.
And so just come before the cameras and say, the mission was great. Thank you to our warriors. Thank you for the people who delivered this result. But we had a communications problem, and we goofed it up, and we own it, and we're sorry, and we'll make sure it won't happen again.
If it's so simple for the governor, Michael, why doesn't the administration see it as that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I'm a political strategist, and from my point of view, I'm looking at the special election we just had in Iowa. Republicans maintained control there. That was a bit of an upset. We had a race that just occurred, I think, days ago in Pennsylvania. We actually lost by around 480-something votes. Whatever the liberal zeitgeist may be as it pertains to this particular issue, I'm not certain that it's attached to the realities on the ground in terms of what the average, everyday individual American is actually focused on. I would acknowledge the mistake occurred. I would move on. I'm not certain that this is going to be a news story beyond next week. And so from a political perspective, if I'm Democrats and you're trying to find something to sort of leech on to frame an argument about why you think the administration is handling things in general incorrectly, I'm not certain that this
But
is that
Mr.
issue.
Michael, it's not the liberal zeitgeist, just as you describe it, because I read today Republican senators, people like Lisa Murkowski. I have read people who support Donald Trump, like Portnoy, the guy from Barstool,
We're gonna
like
talk about that later,
Piers
yeah.
Morgan, come out and say, this was stupid, this was reckless, this was classified, it shouldn't have been on, and you all have to
Yeah,
own
everyone
up to
agrees
it.
with that.
Okay,
I
so
think
then don't-
everyone-
yeah,
I think
but-
everyone agrees
so
with
let's
that,
not talk about Iowa and liberals.
No, no,
This
but-
is
no, no, but-
above
There has to be
partisan.
accountability.
but it's
When we
it's
talk about
important
accountability,
because
Yes.
because that's the issue here, right? Men and women could have died. They were on combat missions when this information was flying around a signal app. I mean, they were wrong for even being on that unsecure app and having these kinds of. This is not going away,
Yeah, no, well,
and it
I
shouldn't.
think
And it
it's gonna
shouldn't
go
go
away.
away.
No,
It
I
should-
think it's gonna go away in
If
a
we're
week.
serious about our
I'm
national
certain of that.
security,
No.
people need to be.
He's right. Look, I don't know how much. Maybe he really feels deeply about what he's saying. We put our soldiers at risk all the time. They shouldn't even be in these other countries, Yemen, Syria, all of this. So when I hear people saying this, there's just not. And this is not a hippie position. I want the best jets. I want the best drones. I want all of it. But we don't need to also be. We've gone far beyond the pale of why we're in other countries. And if you don't know that by now, with the information in 2025, I just don't know what else to say. In the meantime, and I'm talking about like these people, these influencers who act like everything that we do is okay. We just bombed Somalia, and I heard to get ISIS. But when I keep looking, I don't know the name of the ISIS people who we bombed. Like, who did we get? What general did we get? In the leak, they don't talk about the fact that we took down a whole residential building just to get one person. So how many civilians were in it? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And who was the person that we were getting? What's going on?